So I want to say something about the theme, which a lot of you guys probably on your, like the weird color T-shirts that says "Rooted" somewhere. That's the theme for this year, "Rooted." You heard it in the theme song and stuff like that. And sometimes the themes are like a little weird. You might go home and someone's like, "Oh, what's that about Rooted?" And you're like, well, it's like roots and Jesus is the roots, or I don't like. I just sometimes that kind of stuff seems a little abstract, and so I just want to give it to you in a real bite-sized piece, okay? Because I'm not the smartest host there is, okay? You probably had some other hosts here that are better. You're gonna hear speakers that tell you smart stuff all weekend, but I'm just gonna give it to you straight and dumb, okay? And so let me break it down. Roots. All right, we all know what they are. Hopefully, the like the squiggly things at the bottom of like trees and plants and stuff, that like give the plants nutrients or something. And but they also like ground them into the ground. And I learned a lesson about roots when I bought a house where I live now. And when you buy a house, you get everything that comes with it, like the yard and the driveway and all this kind of stuff. And this is what I'm talking about, dumb statements. But anyway, in my yard that I inherited when I bought my house, there were a lot of weeds, okay? A lot of weeds, not weed. Okay, that's what I've seen people out there like, really? Weeds, like the little nasty things that grow in your yard. And so on the left side of my house, there were these little tiny weeds. They're like, they're small, but they just kind of take over the whole yard. They just keep multiplying, and they got this little tiny blue flower, but the blue flower is not pretty enough for them to be called a flower. They were just annoying, okay? And so the first year I was there, I was out there digging them out, and my mother-in-law came out, and she's like, don't dig those out. Those are beautiful, which made me want to dig them out more, digging in there. And, I'm trying to get as many as I can out. I look at the end, I'm like, all right, man, I kicked those weeds' butt, And so I patted myself on the back. And next spring, those suckers start coming up again. I'm like, I can't believe they're back. I'm saying? I was tearing them apart, just ripping them to shreds. And they came back. And so that year, I put like this heavy plastic like over all of it. It was like black plastic. I like tucked it in. I got stakes. I like, so that they couldn't breathe. I was smothering the weeds. And then sure enough, the next year, they just found their way. They poked through the plastic, through the these trash bags and through the stake holes, and they're back. And I was just like, no. I was like, they can't be back. They were really, really aggravating me. And so I made a decision. I'm like, I'm going to get them. I don't care what it takes. I don't care if I'm out here every day this summer. I'm getting rid of these weeds. And so I started like digging, and I dug down deep. And like I said, they're only like maybe 1.5 inches tall. But the roots on some of these things are like 2 feet. I mean, they were just nasty, long roots, and so I had to dig way, way down. When I was done digging down, I like poured some Drano down there. I just wanted to make sure those things were done, and to say proudly, they haven't come back. Okay, I got them out. Thank you. Thanks. That's what a gangster does. Okay. Now I have these other weeds in the back, and these are like. They're like the most insane weeds you've ever seen. They're like 6, 8 feet tall, and they just grow. They're like quick, like a rain comes, and then the next day you're like, whoa, like my kids are building tree forts in them and stuff. I mean, they're like big weeds, and but the thing is, they're like kind of purple, thick stalk. Like you could just push them over, and like their roots on the opposite end are only like 1.5 inches deep, Even though they're impressive looking, they're like all kinds of wild colors. They're thick. Big leaves, you're like, oh gosh, that thing is never coming out. It's gonna take a chainsaw, and it just, a strong gust of wind, a kick, a push, my kids can pull them out. They're just little tiny things, but like they were so much less of a pain than that little root, little weed to get out with the big roots. And the point of it is this: we're kind of like that, like we're very shallow people for the most part. Unfortunately, that's just kind of a cultural flaw that has found its way into our culture, is that we're shallow. We care a lot about what thing looks like. Puffing, oh, look at me. I'm big, I'm perfect, I'm powerful, and all this stuff, and it's all on the outside. We make sure we're strong, our teeth are white, our mascara is perfect, we're wearing the right stuff, doing the right thing. All this stuff that involves the outside, how we appear. But in reality, a lot of us our lives aren't anchored to much. Our roots are very shallow, and we're trying to trying to just find something to hold on to that, you know, that might give us life, and any wind, any storm that comes, they blow down. Another example would be this. So you're at the grocery store. I don't know how many of y'all go grocery shopping, because when I was in high school, my mom did it, you know. But now that you have to pay for it and you get to choose what you eat, it's kind of cool, but it kind of stinks because it's like costs money. But the one thing like I started getting into a couple years ago was like organic stuff. You know, like I got sick and then I became a vegetarian. And are there any vegetarians? Clap one time for vegetarian. I see you, my peoples. All right. And I started liking all that stuff, like natural, organic. You know, it just makes me feel good about myself. You know, I'm like, yeah, I just bought organic. You know, I mean, you know, and this will ruin my street cred. So don't tell any of my homies that I'm a vegetarian or that I like that stuff. But I'm a closet, you know, vegetarian, closet organic guy. Like, and so, you know, when I'm in the supermarket and I'm walking down, you know, like the cereal aisle, let's say, okay, you know, you see there's a million different kinds of cereal choices, and you know, there's like the sugar cocoa balls or whatever, and then all these different kinds of crazy things, and then you see there's like some natural looking stuff, and you know, it's like in like a cardboard looking box, and it says like let's make up a name, like natural wheat puffs, you know, and on the front there's like a little koala bear, you know, chewing on a leaf, and you're like, man, this looks so natural, you know, and you buy it, you take it home, you're like, you're eating it in the morning. I don't know about you, but I always look on the back of the cereal box. I'm like reading that thing, you know, just because it's like force of habit. I just like it, you know. And so, you know, I'll be reading that thing, and then like it'll say on the side, you know, look at ingredients, and it'll be like number 1, like high fructose corn syrup, you know, like yellow number 5, you know, like ribodextrate flavin, you know, for, you know, like what is this, shampoo? You know, like I'm looking at that thing like, this is insane. The little koala bear lied to me, you know, like start punching the box, you know. That's us. That's us. You know, it's just kind of a different example. We care a lot about the outside, and I'm not just saying that for like the first timers. I'm saying that even for us as Christians, even those of you guys who have been here before, you've done the youth group thing, we could do all the little motions, you know. We can know the game. We could have a closet full of, you know, pink and green and yellow colored shirts from youth conferences. On the flip side, you know, if we don't know God, you know, we could just, you know, we might look like the coolest person, but inside it just might be not much, you know, not much substance. And that's where roots come in, you know, that this weekend that we could put down our roots